Hey everyone, Brian here with SampleLibraryReview.com, and today we're going to check out VWinds Flutes from Acoustic Samples. So the VWinds series is actually a pretty new and exciting way of doing things. They combine sampling with audio modeling. So it's not 100% samples or 100% modeling. It's a little bit a mix of both. So you get 9 different instruments. We've got alto flutes, concert flutes, bass flutes, piccolos. There are a ton of different controls here because of the modeling aspect. We're going to look at a lot of different things. It can be as wet or as dry as you want. Placement and amount of air and breath in the samples. A lot of different things can be changed using this approach. It does run in the UVI workstation, which is a free download, and it comes in at about 1.6 gigabytes. Very low hard drive space usage because of that modeling format. Alright, so let's start with a little mock-up using all of the VWinds instruments, at least for one of the flutes, meaning we have 2 concert flutes. I only use one, but I use each of the different types of flutes. So flute, piccolo, alto flute, bass flute, contrabass flute. Now, one thing I wanted to kind of showcase with this mock-up, with this demo, is because of the modeling aspect, there's no need for key switches, which is something I really like in instruments to make them very playable. So this is a very agile demo that it does make use of legato, and also some repeated notes and ostinatos down here as well. So you can hear how it kind of handles repeated legato intervals, as well as these really fast phrases with legato in between some of them, but then also a quick press. We'll do a short note, and the higher the velocity, you'll get a sort of overblown note. So the attacks change based on how hard you press that. You can also even go in here and have it be overblown on the attacks or with all of the note as well, so it gets more of a tweaked breathy sound. But let's listen to this real quick, and here's all the MIDI data down here. So really agile stuff, it's so easy to do, and it's really, really fun to play it in and to program this kind of stuff without having to worry about key switches. So you hear the different attacks there, the quick short notes, the really, really tight multi-tongue notes here. So it's really cool how you can adjust it down, so that's a 30-second note instead of 64. Then it gets really, really tight. So it all sounds really, really good. So now let's go in and kind of just play through some of the instruments and look at the interface as well. So this is how much air is going through the instrument. This is your vibrato, and this is the amount of the virtual space. We have mix pages, virtual space pages, everything like that. Now, when I play through it, I'm going to turn the mic off, but just some things to point out. We have different kind of sound presets here, which we're going to listen to for each of the instruments, but we can also go in the mix panel here. There's different mics, as you can see there, an EQ for the space, and then something I'm probably going to do a bit of is the virtual space panel here, where you can select a chair in the room, select what kind of mic you want the sound to be, and then select the hall. So this one is like a nice orchestral hall. This one's a dry hall, but still with a sense of space. And then the different mic options as well. It's really cool how we have all that there. So this is just the default flute. You'll hear me and see as I go through maybe some presets and some space and mix options as well. Let's check it out. This is the concert flute, and we'll go down the line. All right, so going through a lot of the different presets there, different mic positions, all of the different sound presets as far as that. You heard it could be incredibly close, incredibly dry, bone dry. And then we also have, my favorite one is the V Series Orchestra, just because it has a really nice sense of space, but also clarity. It doesn't get muddy. So I really like that, how it places it right there, as you can see, right in that chair, and using the AB mic position, it just sounds really great. So let's go and check out, so we have like two different flutes. So two different flutes for each of these, but I'm probably just going to focus on one of each. You could hear just a little bit different sound. You heard the playability as far as the instruments themselves with flute 1, just a slightly different sound here. So there is definitely a difference between those. You can use them together to write ensemble parts. So let's go on to alto flute. Also, I am keeping this kind of simple, just going through the different presets, but if you want, go over to this preferences panel here. Boom. You have a ton of control over this, legato transitions, all that kind of stuff, velocity, attack, pitch variation, pitch bending, all that kind of stuff. There's a ton. All the different controls are all here. So if you like tweaking, you're going to get a ton of that with this due to the modeling aspect of it. So alto flute, I've always loved the alto flute. It's just a little bit more warm and emotive. So playing it in live, it is hard to get, like, let's say, perfect dynamic swells. I'm no master at, riding the mod wheel. Okay, I program everything in. So when you program in the vibrato and the velocity, how much air is going through the instrument, at the lowest range, all you can hear is key press. So right there at the very lowest, it's very, very quiet, but I can hear it in my headphones. There's just key presses, and then the air slowly comes on. And then, of course, the attack. So if you heard the attack come in, we can do this on the overblown thing that I was telling you about earlier. So So that adds that overblown effect, which is really, really cool. But you hear how tight it can get when I have none on, and just doing single note presses on my keyboard really, really quickly. It's very, very efficient. Let's go to piccolo here. So I think piccolo doesn't sound as good by itself, but I really like the doubling effect when we do something like this. This is just concert flute and piccolo. And that little run as well, like kind of a run rip, all done it manually, and it sounds really good. Like really good, especially for playing it in like that, not recorded. Also, real quick, I'm gonna play the bass flute and contrabass flute, but just I wanted to show this again, isolated, how good it handles these repeated legato intervals, and modulation or dynamics is just here, very, very simple. And then a long note with the accent at the end, just re-trigger it like that. And then when we harmonize it with the alto flute, add in some bass flute and contrabass flute, it really fleshes it out. So while I'm playing it, and it's a good demonstration of what it sounds like to play it in, I think I just really wanted to go over those parts in the demo because it shows the versatility and the ease of use of this instrument. Because of that right there, the harmony, everything, the quiet dynamics, you know, not just loud, really, really quiet with the key presses. I think that is really, really good. So let's go on to bass flute. And then contrabass flutes here. Everything sounds really, really good. I think for lyrical legato passages, very more long, emotive, flowing lines, it's going to take a bit more to program. But you can program vibrato as well as, obviously, the dynamics. So the vibrato usually is what can give something away or what makes something sound extra real. If the vibrato is just on all the time or programmed badly, it can sound fake. If you really take the time to finesse the vibrato, which in this is CC11, it's going to add a ton of realism, which is why I say me playing it in doesn't really do it justice, okay? For the fast, agile parts, I think this does it probably better than anything I've heard, because it doesn't have the looseness of a sampled instrument. So I have, you know, obviously a ton of samples that can sort of do this sort of thing where a quick press is a short note, and then it can do legato, and then, so with that, you can do a marcato by sculpting the MIDI CCs and all that stuff, just with one patch. This does it better than anything else I've heard. It just works really, really well, and I like it a lot. So at times you can tell it's a modeled instrument. I kind of pick things apart like that. So yes, I can tell there are times when it's modeled, especially when the mic positions or the mixes aren't quite perfect. You can definitely tell then. But in a mix with the rest of the orchestra, when you need to program something that just will do exactly what you play with no quirks, because we're not relying on a sampled performance that isn't going to nail that perfectly, this absolutely does it really, really well. So you heard mostly the flutes and the different presets there, but they've all got presets and they all sound very good for what they are. It's also still on intro price till the end of April 2024. So if you like what you hear, let us know in the comments. What do you think of combining audio modeling and samples? Does it sound good? Does it sound bad? Do you not care if the sound isn't 100% perfect as a sampled instrument because the playability is 100% perfect? Let us know what you think. I am very impressed with VWinds from Acoustic Samples. Thank you guys for checking this out with me, and we will see you next time.